My mother's love, you find everything's alright. To a mother's love, you are bound. You can rest on sacred ground. In a mother's love, you are free to dream, because she sees what you can be. In a mother's love, you see the sun, enough for two, but you're one. In a mother's love, you can feel when something hurts. You can heal. Yes, a mother's love is real. You grow because she knows to let you go. Yeah, mama, 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 mama. Mother's love. Mother's love. Yeah. All right. A mother's love. And a mother's love never lies. She believes that you can fly with all of her might. A mother's love. Yay, mama. Greetings and welcome to the Tiger's Den. This is the voice of Cheryl, and I am Toothless Tiger. I'd like to welcome you back to part 2 of my series on the history of Black women being denied, or we're actually disbelieved in pregnancy. Hey, Maria, Asatar, and whomever is in the bushes, in the trees, on the beach, in the sand, in the sky, on the boat, in the rivers, wherever you may be. Thank you for joining me. I normally wait, a few minutes to let people come in, but my people are here. Whoever you are, all of those that are here, I thank you for joining me. It's been a lot of things going on YouTube in the last, week or two? And especially the last week, when we've seen a lot of things happening to a lot of people, a lot of what they call exposure. I call it silent weapons for quiet wars. One of the main reasons that I came to YouTube was to help uplift fallen humanity for any who do not know. I came to share me, my knowledge, my wisdom, my experience. I listened to a lot of different YouTube videos over the last couple of days, I guess you could say, perhaps maybe a week, just getting a feel for how this thing works, because I had no knowledge of how YouTube works. But when you realize that everything about this great country is rooted in commerce and making what people think called money, then you know why a lot of people do the things that they do and will go to any length to do it. And it's disheartening, especially when you look at our history. I realize we have a generation of people that really haven't a clue about our history. They've heard and seen speeches of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and they've heard about Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey. And for those who embarked upon the journey that I did some 10 years ago, I've learned of the Honorable Noble Drew Ali, and I've came to be. And I had a great, great, great teacher in the Grand Sheik. He goes by the name of Taj Tariq Bey. And I listened to him and studied him and took copious notes. And I read books, I ordered books, I'm still buying books. And so when I started out with the knowledge I had acquired. I'm acquiring knowledge as I go with you guys. I never really liked what I thought was Black history, because I didn't like what happened to us as the story was told. And a lot of the things were so very painful. And when I looked at Dr. Umar, he would always describe, and then I heard Dr. Joyce DeGruy also explain that we all, in some way, suffer from PTSD, which is called, for us, post traumatic slave disorder, which is a disorder and an atrocity that was committed against the people of the land, who we are. And I go by Asiatic, and I learned that from studying under Taj Tariq Bey and Noble Drew Ali. And I understood geography and jurisdiction. I don't have a handle on it, but I know more about it. And so as I started studying for myself and going to the Library of Congress, requesting the original document of what we call the Constitution for the United States, it really saddened me to know how we were not taught the things that children that develop into adults were taught. And that's why we proudly wear the name minority. Didn't have a knowledge on connotative and denotative linguistics. And until you get those words in your vocabulary, your vernacular, you're going to miss out on a lot of things. We react to everything, no matter what it is. And when I started studying the 7 Hermetic principles and nature's law, God's law, the thing you must get inside of you and understand each principle and how they operate and connect to one another, then it's a lot of things in this life you're going to miss out on. The things you think you know, unfortunately, you don't know. I shared a book, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, and I give it away freely via email. And some people requested it and some people did not. I've come to know that if I don't get off of my mission, my purpose, my path, I'm going to be all right. I would love to have many people listening to this message right here tonight. Unfortunately, this message is not one that entertains in the manner in which we say we like to be entertained. And when Silent Weapons break down entertainment, and that's keep the adults busy doing nothing. Keep the children confused. Don't teach them anything. And you look at the Education Board mission statement from 1902, which is in effect right now today. We have these people who are docile, and we shape them and form them the way we choose to. Or we don't plan for them to go anywhere. We don't want them to grow. We don't need any thinkers. We need laborers. When you go back and you learn emancipation didn't equal freedom, emancipation equaled transfer. And we just went from one master to the other. And I'm not going to take you all the way back to Kemet, Ikuta. I'm not going to take you back. But I would ask you to listen to the video, share the video, like the video, comment. It helps get my message out. And it doesn't matter if you have 6 million or if you have 6 people, which is what I have now. And I welcome you all. Regina M., Asator, glad you all are here. It doesn't matter whether people are afraid to type in your chat, if people choose not to come to your chat. You see, they all say, well, because you're in this sector, YouTube is not really pushing your videos. They're not really doing it. Well, I came to the entertainment education sector, and they didn't give me the option to be with people who believe in carrying out the mission of tearing each other down. They didn't teach me that when I was picking out which section, what my videos were going to be about. So basically, what I do is just do what I do. And if the people come, they'll come. And if the people don't, as long as you keep your video up, you never know when people will start watching it. I've had problems with YouTube, and I understand it's an algorithm thing. And it started probably because of a lot of things that people do on YouTube. And I realized as I've been looking at other content creators that in all groups, they have the same struggles. You have people who want to come up and people who will use anything to come up. They will lie. They use their voices. They're kind of like ministers, the old Baptist preacher, they say, or the Pentecostal preacher, they use what it takes to captivate a lost people. And because we are accustomed to being beat down and tore down and at the bottom of the totem pole, we easily succumb to the abuse that we suffer in the name of entertainment. I used to look at reality TV, and I looked at a lot of those different stories. And when I first started looking at those stories, I thought they were some great stories depicting us as successful people. Then you come to know, as you look at, the season, that a lot of those people were not really living like they were living before us. Some of them even have been imprisoned. Some of them have gone to prison because they were trying to live a lifestyle of acceptance. I play this song and I'll play it at the end. The greatest love of all is to find love within yourself. We got to get back to self. We teach in the honor of our ancient mothers and fathers. A lot of us don't have a clue that the world around us, most of us don't get out of the States. And we certainly, don't know the history past what we've been taught as history. Black history. No history. Because we didn't understand etymology. And we didn't know. We know words are important because it is written. But what we didn't know is that there are different dictionaries that define the same word. And a lot of things that we say, we're putting spells on ourselves. Everything is called self-worth, self-esteem, self-respect. And if you have none for self, certainly you can't share it with other people. And that's what I see a lot of. And then the post-traumatic stress disorder, which is post-traumatic slave disorder. Because no one is willing to deal with the issue and the atrocities that has been done against us as a people. Not even us. Oh yeah, we get angry, real angry when we see an officer shoot down an innocent person, a kid. Now more women are being shot. But when you learn from Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, one of our great scholars, who was not only a psychiatrist, but also a medical doctor. And when she started working in a facility for people with mental illness, as they call it, She realized the disparity in the treatment of individuals that were of an Asiatic descent and individuals of a European descent. And she noticed that we got filled with medication and they had plans and therapy and were able to talk it out. That's why when you go to a therapist, they always go back to your beginning. Because as it is written in the Son book, in the beginning. So you got to start at the beginning in order to get to where you want to go, wherever it is that you want to go. You got to start from your beginning because it is that beginning, those 9 months that your creator, your mother, carried you in her womb. And in those 3 months, once you entered into the world, Earth's plane, I will say, of bonding and nurturing. And then those first 6 years, you could take it to 7 as you develop your character and who you are as you break away in your independence from your mother bosom. And then you're 7 to 14, and you can even take it 7 to 18 because 18 is where we put numbers on everything, and they say that that's the age of maturity. Unfortunately, if you look in the law dictionary, that's not true at all. For a young girl, it is considered at the age of 12. For a young boy, 14. Then you see all these people with all this perversion and all of the things that they say about one another. And we don't understand it, and especially if you don't know anything about how this thing works on YouTube. As a subscriber, just looking at a video, you just think that this stuff is really, really something that you probably could really do. And trust me, you really can. But remember, the first word is YouTube. So you have to do it. And you have to determine where you want it to go. This is a way that many people who didn't graduate high school for whatever reason, who had hard times as a child, as an adult, you can actually go as high as you want to go. They have children right now today that's on YouTube that are millionaires. And trust me, they're not doxing people, families. They're not going in, pulling out things out of the closet on each other. But when you look at some of the other content creators that you'll never see because you don't intertwine with them, you'll find that they are doing the same tactics. So you can't escape it. What you have to do is decide where you want to go and then put in the effort and the work to take you where you're trying to go. That's what the good thing about the 7 Hermetic principles are all about. Those are universal laws that work in our lives, whether we acknowledge them or not. A lot of the things that's happening to people today, a lot of people say, oh, the Lord is coming back. It's the last days. Well, I just want you all to know, for every generation, it was the last days for the people that lived in that generation. For it is written, a lot of people like to tell us what Paul said, but if you just go by the one that everybody say they believe in, who is Jesus, if you go by what he said, no man knows the hour. So all of the projecting and the anticipating, you can do all of that. My cousin and I, and I've shared this many a times, have conversations, and one of the things that he taught me, and we talk all the time, is that we spend all of our time teaching people how to die, but we don't spend any time teaching them how to live. I want to teach you how to live, but you got to get it. You see, it's nothing out here that you're not going to be involved in if it involves you. So that means any help that you think you seek, be it from a doctor, from a lawyer, from an Indian chief, from a CEO, from whomever, you're going to have to participate in it to understand what's happening and to progress. We're treated as children, minorities. The root word is minor, meaning we can't handle our own affairs. So that's why everybody can take us and make us be whatever they want us to be. Colored, Negro, African American, Indian, Hispanic, Mexican, Latina, Latino. That's why they can do that. And what we have to understand is America is a continent. And actually, we have North America, South America, and then, of course, the connector, Central America. We have to identify ourselves, not identify. We cannot allow anybody to tell us who we are. And when President Obama was in office, one of the good things that he did was he signed the Proclamation of the Rights for Indigenous People, giving us permission to be who we are. The unfortunate thing about that executive order lasted until he left office. And it wasn't because the president that came behind him took that privilege or that right away. It was because that's how long the executive order was for. I want to thank YouTube for when I requested second appeal on my videos, for allowing them to go through, because I was really having a problem with how is it that they say that they give us the right to be a partner to a program to make money, yet all of the videos are not suitable for ads for everybody, so you don't get advertisements. I really was beginning to think that that was a problem, and it still could be. But I can say that they have put into place where you can do a second appeal and actual real humans look at it, which I thought they looked at it on the first one. But when you request the second one, they say human. And they escalate it, and thus far, albeit 2 or 3 days later, but they allow the advertisement. What type of advertisement? I don't know. When they place the advertisement, that's really a thing. I don't know. And I really don't care. I often say I don't do this for money. And I truly mean that. But we do know everything costs money. And a workman is worthy of his hire. That's just automatic. Anything that you get pleasure out of or anything that you want, you normally spend money on it. You normally do that. And so I'll never come up here and just beg, beg, beg. I'll just remind, and then you do accordingly, because we're all suffering in all different types of ways. So I don't ask you to do anything for me that you're not willing to do for yourself. You know, last week I started a series Sunday because we had one of those great doctors on one of the TV shows, the reality shows, Married to Medicine, Dr. Jackie. And I have a fondness for Dr. Jackie, but I was very, very, very disappointed in Dr. Jackie because she made a statement a couple of years ago, and I had stopped looking at the show, so I had no idea that she had made this statement. And one thing about us being taught, we're all taught, so do understand, when I say the herd mentality, It's not a put down for you as an individual, but you take it how you must. It is a method in which we were trained, and that's why we can't get past our own way, because we're stuck in translation. Take a minute to dissect that. Regina moved something in the chat that I thought is very, very, very interesting. She put out post traumatic slave syndrome, and then she put in MAP equal multi-generational trauma together with continued oppression. Absence of opportunity to heal or access the benefits available in the society, leading to post-traumatic slave syndrome. I don't know who Regina is. She's absolutely awesome. And it's truly a blessing to anybody's chat. And she's definitely, definitely won my heart, because she helps me be better. There is so much I don't know because I haven't been studying long, but I have studied. And that's why I wanted to come and just share it with the world. But when you realize that everybody that say, Lord, Lord, and they quote scriptures and bless you and all of those good things, most haven't a clue about what's written. Most, not all. And you can tell by their actions and their conversation. Most people don't realize that love is an action and not a word. Not just something you say, and not just a feeling, although it may be something you say and you may have feelings. Three things can be right at the same time, yet they can also be wrong. We learned that in the 7 Hermetic principles, the principle of polarity, and that's the duality of things. I'm going to start back with where we left off on last week. But before we start back, for anybody who's new and don't really quite comprehend what's going on, I want to share with you. See, we can only go back in our time period. We can read about the 1800s, but most of us came in the 1900s. Some of us in the 2000s, but most of us came in the 1900s, as we know the numbers. Starting around 19, I'm going to say, maybe, I don't know that I'm the oldest person in this area. I'm the oldest that I know of, and I came around, entered this realm of life in 1958, still under Jim Crow laws. And we didn't start getting what they call civil rights, not the unalienable human rights that we're all given at birth. Not those rights, because we traded those for what we thought were freedom, only to find out we are no more freer today than we were when we celebrate being free. And then there are systems in place that keep us in our place. And some of us defy that system and go on to be great. One thing we're learning, what's happening in this last week or two, we say it all the time. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. A lot of these people that are being laughed at and talked about and brought down before our eyes here on YouTube and all other manner of media, the higher up you go, the more of you lose. The system won't allow you One of the ways the few rule the many is divide and conquer. And we've been divided by things such as race. It's only one race, it's the human race. But if I give them some crayons and call one black, which has no legal meaning in civil law, and if I call one white, then they say because that's more pure, then we're going to say we're superior. And if I call one brown, they say, oh, those were the people that were already here. And if I call one red, oh, they had to come over from the land that all of us are based from. And if I call one yellow, those people. And what we don't realize, while we're calling people all of these crayons, every last one of those people that we're calling crayons know their nationality. Nationality goes back to nativity. Nativity go back to the navel. The navel go back to the uterus. Life that only a woman can give. And the oldest original people in the land are us. We are the givers of life. So how can a whole world hate a people from which they came? Most of our children don't have a clue about none of this. That's why they're disrespectful. That's why they think they know everything. That's why they don't mind slapping you upside the head, mama, or pulling out a gun or a knife. You know, I've been reading these policies and guidelines, and again, I share with you all, they are so ambiguous. So anybody can say, if you say this word, then you have committed violation against the community guidelines. But they're up here making videos about your dead mother, who's done nothing to nobody, been dead 30 years, don't even know nothing about this kind of stuff. But one thing she did know, just like Kim said in his song, in a mother's love, you're free. Because she can see what you can be. Now, how can she relate that over to you? It's very hard when the whole world is against you, and not just in word. And we couldn't even discuss these things. And this is not my platform, and it may be an issue now. But like I said, I want to thank YouTube because they looked at my videos. I'm not teaching no hatred. I'm not teaching division. And it's not enough people that's going to listen to me that's going to make a different impact in their lives. But we can do it. And we can do it one person at a time. It starts with you. Regina said, thank you, Toothless Tiger. I try to be of service to help teach and uplift. To help teach and uplift whenever I am allowed to do so. You would be surprised how some people think so lowly they do not want to learn or listen. Yeah, I really understand that because I know people that I even know. If I started talking, they don't want, they got to go, they got something they got to do, they leave the room. I understand it for real. And, if you can understand it with your own, which it is written, a prophet is without honor in its own. So I understand all the dynamics of being human. And, sometimes it's sad. But what I've learned is there was a time when I didn't know, didn't understand, and didn't even want to know. Hi, Horton. Hi, Chaplain Joyce. So very good to see you. I hope everybody had a beautiful Christmas holiday. I did. It was very lazy. My son truly brings rays to my life. He got me exactly what I wanted. Couldn't ask for anything more. Phyllis cooked a beautiful dinner, and we just laid around and chilled. But I want to just give y'all a little go back for any newcomers that may be in the bushes, in the trees, on the sand, in the beach, wherever you may be, or anyone who comes in the chat and just don't want to type. It's okay. It is my hope that if you don't listen today, that somebody will listen one day and then they'll teach this to their children. That's my hope. You know, we all grew up playing the dozens, and that's what a lot of these people claim, that this was about roasting and having fun. But there is no roasting, no fun in the things that people are doing to people for the love of money. And they're not making enough Federal Reserve notes because there is no money. You see, a lot of us don't even understand. The value is in you as a person. And as long as you keep devaluing yourself, then the powers that be would keep gaining from your labor. That's reality. That's not a conspiracy theory. You know, anytime you talk about issues that relates to our mistreatment and how we mistreat each other, it always goes back to a conspiracy theory or a mystical identity. It's so very elusive. Then they talk about the witchcraft and the voodoo and the Illuminati and the boo. You must know that there is a light and a dark side of everything. You, the people, choose which one you're going to be up under. And we're losing. And especially we as Asiatic people, people who call themselves Black, we're losing because we don't even realize that we don't know. We don't even realize the things that they turn against us. They all talk about the Mason, the Freemason, the Freemason. Imhotep came up with masonry. You know, it's like bricklaying, you know, like architecture. But all boy children, young men that grow up to be men, are Masons. The Madonna and the Christ child is indicative of that. Ma, M-A, ma, mother, ma, madre, mama, and whatever other language that you can say, ma. And son, her boy child, Mason. And so the dark priesthood made it to whatever these people are talking about, but it is good. We got to do better. And I'm just going to just give you a little bit of what I have. So before we go back to our story, I want to just read a little bit about the Black family and U.S. social policy. This is by Senator Moynihan, Unintended Legacy. That's what it's about. Written by Dean E. Robeson. And I tell y'all, sometimes I get to reading, and I really do know how to read, but baby, I get to seeing these names and some of these. I'm not going to say I'm right, so I'm just going to do a disclaimer off the top. This is also fair use. This is fair use, and it's to educate, for scholarship, for research, for criticism and commentary, to enlighten our people and to uplift fallen humanity. No one is excluded from the tiger's den as long as you come with respect. Respect for me and my subscribers and any visitors. I don't do the troll thing. And for all that love the trolls and they help them, I'm happy. That's not me. I came to uplift, not to destroy. Regina said, well, so Alicia said exactly, to this good and bad everywhere. Show enough. So Alicia, a lot of this stuff is criminal, very much so. The harassing and the bullying is definitely criminal. And they play with these terms loosely. And they all laugh and joke about the 13 million that I won by a federal default judgment. And what's so very funny, what tickles me is everybody say that you can't tell if a person is something unless they got paperwork. Check the docket. Well, these people get the docket. Read the docket. First, they said it was fake, false, phony. It's a joke. But it's on the docket. The default judgment is there. And let me worry about how it's going to be funded. Everybody want to laugh and talk about I'm dumb, stupid, and crazy. No, I warned everybody. I don't fight like you people. Then they got me the woman that sue everybody. Oh, Toothless got this RICO case. I'm not a federal prosecutor. I don't have a RICO case. But what I do have is a story to tell. And it's up to the federal prosecutors if they find that it should go forward. And as we see in the state of Georgia, that great state where one of the people who keeps bullying me and bringing up my name, calling me scammers and all of this good stuff, they're really able, the DA in Fulton County can reach any county, Gwinnett, and any other county, and prosecute on a state RICO charge. See, I don't have a RICO charge. All of these sheeple, the herd, when they saw I made 3 organization charts for 3 bullies who's dominating and using people and their pain to make their money, to do drugs before our eyes, to get drunk before our eyes, and to destroy families before our eyes. We see this. And we've even been in those chats. And we didn't know what we were promoting. Some people would never go there. Well, I went. Many of us did. It's no way, nobody can ever make me believe that everybody that's connected to who I see in this sector is gaining hundreds of people and I'm losing 2 to 3 every other day. I've never been this low, 14, 17. But I told y'all, I'm going to stay here until I go down back to the 3 I started with. Or I rise above it. I'm not trying to go too big, so I'm not speaking down on myself. I know what I can do. They said that I'm so woe out and toe out, I can't do nothing. I can't talk, I can't listen. Perhaps I can't. But you know one good thing about Toothless? She came here knowing who she was and what she was willing to do. And my mama taught me never, ever envy anyone for what they have. For you might not be willing to pay the price that they're willing to pay to have it. And boy, when she taught that to us as her children, she put a plant in me that has grown all the way to eternity. because she saw it forever telling the truth. I was one of those people, I didn't call in line saying that I couldn't make it today. If I didn't want to go to work that day, I called in and said I didn't want to go to work that day, and I won't be in. I can't give my best today. I did that. You see, I'm that one that if they forecast rain, because I had a bad experience in the rain once, and I was afraid to drive in the rain, so I wouldn't leave home if it was raining. Now, if I got caught in the rain, I had to drive back home. But I wouldn't leave home. If they forecast rain, I'd call my supervisor to let her know I wouldn't be there. They didn't have Uber and all that. They had taxi cabs. My daddy taught me that your boss is a whole lot afraid of his boss than you are of him. My daddy said, don't you go to that job talking about don't nobody like you because they don't know you. And you were hired to do a job. So don't go there talking about my desk and my office. He said, because you don't own shit. He said, if you think I'm lying, fuck around and get fired. And see, don't the desk in your office stay there, but you got to go. Real talk. I was one of the fortunate ones to have a daddy in their lives. And he was that daddy that you heard about out there. But he was that daddy that gave us everything he had. And boy, is it an honor. And I wish I could talk to him today because a lot of the things that he was sharing with us was too deep for us, for me anyway. I didn't get it, but I got it now. And I would love to chop it up. You know how they ask you, who would you like to sit down if you had an opportunity to sit down and talk with somebody? My daddy would be one of my top. To let him know I really hear him. I do. Thank you, Regina. He really was. Didn't get past the 3rd grade. And he used to tell us he left home when he was 2. And we used to laugh and think he was one of the craziest men in earth. But see, it wasn't until we really understood what he was telling us, because he would tell that story as if it was a joke. Oh, kind of like these roasters. But it was pain, and you could see it and you could hear it. But, you just couldn't fathom that a person left home at 2. And he would say it like he really left and hit the swamps, and, he grew up in Louisiana. But what he meant by that, a lot of people on this YouTube could attest to it as well, that his mother got sick when he was 2 years old with cancer. And they had to give up their home and move back with her mom to be taken care of. And when your mom can't take care of you, people don't treat you with the love and the care of your mom. So when he say he left home at 2, that's when his pain began, that he could recall of his dysfunction. That was deep once I understood what that meant. And believe it or not, I didn't really grasp that until he was gone. And my dad died in 2008. So it's amazing. It's something to talk to the elders in your family. And y'all, if y'all are not talking to the children in your family, shame on you. They don't know the questions to ask because they don't know what they don't know. You don't know the things that you don't know, but you do know what you know. And you should give that to somebody that's going to be here when you're gone. People think I'm the family historian. Out of all of my first cousins, I'm the baby girl, and I'm 65. Because all of my first cousins, I grew up with their children. Hardin says there are two factions of the Illuminati, one closer to the light and the other closer to darkness. The one closer to light fight against the closer to darkness behind the scenes for our survival. Hardin, you're a beautiful person too and very knowledgeable. And I'm honored when you come into this chat. You and Regina don't know how y'all help us because y'all helping us. My people, so Alicia, Madria, Phyllis, Asatar, Ryan, they've been with me a long time. Longhead. Been with me a long time. Whether you see him or not, he's here. He supports me. He's a member of the channel. And every now and then he's going to come and say, hey, Annie. We didn't know a lot of this stuff. I knew a little bit more than them, and they were very intrigued and wanted to learn more. So you guys bring such a ray of sunshine and honor to what I'm doing. You really do. And I appreciate that. I came in here in honor and integrity, and I'll leave YouTube the same way. But I do have another channel, and I'm going to be putting out some information on those channels. And that information will be more to what the people on YouTube is used to. They probably will never look at it, but yet again, it'll be there for days to come. Somebody need to know the light and the dark. Somebody need to know this stuff. You hear a lot of people on here say they love the Lord. Woo! And they don't like all of this mess, but they in every messy content creator chat that they can be in. And they call me messy. Wonder why. And I don't know any of them, and they don't know me. One woman, the oracle, very dark, snake, deep, dark, won me over. But I'll never forget when that person first contacted me. And I talked about the ancestors, and they said they were sent. And I was all excited. They wanted to help me with my intro, my outro, my thumbnails, and all of this stuff. And I hung up that phone. I was excited, and I looked at my son, and I told him, because he was visiting his mother. He hasn't lived at home since he went off to U of H. And that was around about 1999 or something like that. I don't remember. Somewhere in that area. And I said, whoa, that was that person. And she said she was sent. And he looked at me and he said, who sent her? And I damn near cussed him out. The ancestors, child. You know what? It could have been the ancestors, because we got some dark ones. All of the ancestors wasn't sweet and good and angelic and doing the right thing. So maybe that dark side center, I just didn't understand it then. But she garnered my trust. And I'm sure a lot of these people, because all of these people turned against me, they used to call me like a Annie, or you're like a mother and all that good stuff. A lot of people turned against me, and I could not understand why. And all of them knowing I haven't done anything to any of them, never had a bad word with any of them. And then they have this place called the Discord. And so Alicia is familiar with the places like Rift. And these people get together, and then they have rooms, and then they have secret rooms, and then they have secret rooms. And they get together. And so it had to be all predicated on the things that she shared that we talked about. And then this man who keeps, the dog crusher, who keep on mentioning me and following me and calling me all manner of bitches and all of this good stuff and fat. And he think because he put an emphasis on fat, that's going to make me bigger. He had no part in me becoming fat. Not one. No, he have any part in me getting small. I don't do things for people. He sends minions into other people's chats, throwing slugs, and they say I'm the subliminal queen. So why would you throw a subliminal at the queen? But I'm a big girl and I can take it. There's not many places that I go on YouTube anymore. I used to support everybody financially, and that became a joke. These people say they would never mistreat anybody that gave to them. Don't believe the hype. I learned the hard way. I don't really have to give to anybody, but I really believe in being who I am. Oh, they laughed and made fun. I can't count. It's wrong. So all of this trying to prove something, my son told me, Mama, you can't trace a lie. No matter how much proof you show, they're going to move the bar. And if you think he didn't lie, you better ask somebody. And my son is 42. But see, he said he's had encounters on this social media, and it gets very ugly, and he's seen a lot of bad stuff. And he forewarned me. You sure you ready for this, Cheryl? Whenever we talk deep, he'll call me Cheryl. And I love it. No disrespect intended. I love when he called me mama too. But I certainly love when he say Cheryl, because I know we having a serious conversation then. We really are. I gave my son some freedoms at a young age because I know he was very afraid of his mother because of my rules and the way I actually sit down and I actually mapped out the school he was going to go to, what he could and could not participate in. I did that so that he can have an opportunity to learn. I didn't know at the time that we were trained under animal husbandry. We were given that type of education. We were not given erudition, which is education for human development, because after all, we're minorities. And the root word is minor. You know, people say, I didn't come on YouTube to learn nothing. Well, isn't that funny? Billions of people go on to YouTube to learn something every day. Billions of people. They go to the do-it-yourself channels. They go to it step by step. They go to the ask questions and I'll answer channels. We're the only people who only came here to be entertained. And entertainment is a distraction from reality and to keep you from doing nothing. All of this entertaining that we do on YouTube, some of our children are going lacking. I would be willing to bet you that. When the dog crusher turned on me, I knew what I had to do, and I knew I was going to do it. And now they got me down as the woman who sue everybody. That's all she do is sue people. Yeah, but you better look at the end of her suits, because all she do is win, win, win. She ain't just suing. They say it's frivolous. No, it's not frivolous when you win. You keep looking. Organization, Wolf Council, whoever you are, LexisNexis, you're not the only people that have access to LexisNexis. In case you guys didn't know it, you can go to any law library, especially at your state capital if you live close to it. But any law library pretty much have access to LexisNexis. Because most people don't, not even attorneys. It's a very expensive system. But these people use these systems and put out people's family business Talk about people's babies, 3 years old, and what they're going to do to them. And then if you talk about them talking about it, they strike your video and say you're talking about sexually explicit language, or you're doing hate speech. You're spewing. This is just the training that we received. Once I learned really what it's all about, I can't too much blame these people other than the fact that they don't desire to be no better, and they're not good human beings in their everyday life. You know, they all say this is just YouTube. It's just a joke. It's just YouTube. That's a lie. When you're affected by this every day, when your private life is affected, when they're calling your job. Good evening, B-Rob. Lacola, hi. Just know anybody that joined, just know you're welcome, as long as you come with respect. I'm not one who have a need for trolls. I have a need for somebody to hear what I have to say, not because it's my truth. As we learned from the 7 Hermetic principles, all truths are but half-truths. Once you start understanding mentalism, correspondence, vibration, once you understand cause and effect, once you understand gender, and if I left off one, and how they all work together for the good of who you are, to help you manifest whatever it is you want to manifest. Everybody say they believe in a man called Jesus, and he said that these things that I do, you can do greater. Nobody is doing that. We're stuck on trying to keep somebody else from having what we got, and we don't have nothing. The same 1% that we owned when they let us go back in 1865, we own the same 1% today. As a race of people, as a nation of people, a nation can only rise as high as it sees its woman, the matriarch, the mother, the giver of life. Not the woman who's a bad bitch or a boss bitch, not that woman. The one who loves and nurtures, the one who disciplines, the one who set the government, the one, if you go and read Proverbs 31, starting at 10, that wake up when a household is asleep, the one who does the cooking and the mending, the one who goes out in the marketplace and sell the goods, the one that a husband is proud to call his own, as he sit out at the gates with his friends, protecting his territory. Yeah, that one. Everybody on here, the black woman, y'all don't know nothing about no damn black woman, and don't care nothing about no black woman. Y'all like this game called YouTube that's got y'all mesmerized and taken away from reality. And it's okay while you're here, but it has gone into your personal lives, and it's horrible. Everybody hate everybody 1 minute and the best friends the next. We'll come together for some mess and to destroy somebody, but we won't come together to uplift. It's okay. You got people come to you to despitefully misuse you. See, I'm one of them people. I don't mind you using me. I don't. That's what it's all about. But when you think you can despitefully misuse me, then you have a problem with me. You don't have a problem with me otherwise. What you think of me is none of my business. And what I think of you, you wouldn't want to know. So we're cool. Regina said, I never understood how people would think a cubicle was theirs or an office was literally theirs. They even think a public parking space at the workplace is theirs because they parked there. That is so true. I mean, and you almost get into a fight if you beat them to work that morning and parked in that spot. And ain't nobody paying for it. And then you might have to pay for it. But you paying somebody else. But they will do that. That has happened. Then they get a reality rude awakening and get mad. Take it personally and go in the offensive of attack. The offensive attack. They only fight against themselves. The same is happening on YouTube. People think it's theirs. That's so very true. Astor said, the oracle ain't you know what, and I agree. She lurks around. She's a lot of these troll accounts, these Clara bookers, and I didn't want to say that name because I know who the name belonged to, so I say it in honor, not in disrespect. It is so sad. People disrespect me, lie on me, say some of the most atrocious things about me, and then say that they don't F with people and they don't do this and they don't do that. But I'm so glad, and I'm not, trust me, I'm not reveling in other people's pain. But I'm so glad all of these people who turned against me for a man who gave no fucks about them either. I'm so glad to see and hear some of the dastardly things he's doing to them. Whereas Asatar see it different because he does it for himself and he sees integrity in what he's doing. And I'm happy for him and I support him 100%. I see good after bad, throwing your pearls to swine. That's just a difference in eyesight. And everybody has a perception. And everybody see it the way they see it. But you, the individual, have to live it the way you live it. And like I told him, I love, honor, and respect him for that. Although I can't say I don't have some feelings sometimes. He knows it, and we have all the fun in the world because he just loves me to death. And he'll call my ass out, but he just let me holler. One time you said, Toothless, why you hollering at me? And so Lisa said, okay, Toothless, I got it. But I love her because she will just send me a text thanking me for real though on how much I've helped her. And I don't know if I really did, but I can tell you this. She's grown leaps and bounds. And I'm so very proud of her. You know, my son told me, Mama, discernment. Because he knows his mother has a big heart. I'm a big giver. And I'm going to help anybody that I can help. Whether you use my help or not. I'm one of those people like Asator. I can't just see nobody get mistreated. So I feel what he's doing. It just don't feel good, you know, when you're close to somebody and you know these people have done wrong by you and you've done nothing to them. Nothing. And the people who have done and said some of the worst things in the world about them, oh, they're all just good friends coming together and they're going to make it work. Beautiful. It's so funny to me. It is so funny. Nobody calls out nothing. And then they think that one person invented the little old phrase, go along, get along game. Boy, that's so funny. But I was taught, and I've even done it myself, we always excuse the behavior of those that we love or that we're closest to. So you don't have to have a love connection. But anytime, you know, it's just like it's written. The Lord draws closer to those that draws closer to him. That's what's written. So that just gives you human nature. Because a lot of us don't realize that the Son Book, which most call the Bible, was written in an anthropomorphic view for children. And then everybody quotes the Son Book, but they don't quote Jesus, the one that they say saved them. They quote Paul, the one that was supposedly converted. So really, instead of Christianity, they ought to say they are Paulinians, because that's who they love to quote. Rarely do you catch a person quoting Jesus. Rarely. They might say something he said, but most don't. B. Rob said, tell Astor to stay out of my chat and my StreamYard. I think you told him, B. Rob. Thank you for being respectful. Oh, Rob B. I said B. Rob. Let's say B. Yeah, let's say B. Rob. Okay. So Alicia said bye. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, Lacola, no, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Alicia said, Astor has integrity. That's my bro. Alicia said, love you to pieces. Right. It's always your fault, never theirs. Astor is so smart. It's kind of scary sometimes. Yeah, but see, the reason that he appears that way is because he comes from a place of psychology and logic. And see, most of us, and a lot of people, they keep calling him this European white man, the communist, the Russian. Astor is Armenian. He has a nationality. These people don't even know nationality. And they have no respect for themselves. So we can't really expect them to respect us. You can only fake and play like you do for so long. It is written also in the Son Book, what's in you is want to come out. So it's not what goes into the man that defiles him, but it's what comes out. See, that's why it's good to have studied and to be rooted in something, and then be able to open your mind later to realize that perhaps what you were taught may not be that it's wrong, because truth can't be wrong, but all truths are half truths. And most of them are yours. Why? Because they come from you, the original people. So I can't have you believing in yourself and knowing how great you are. So let's just tear each other down. I can't let you get on this YouTube and outshine me, because I've been here 5 years lying and cheating people. So I can't let you get on here and do better than me. I can't. So I got to make up lies. I got to disrespect your family, your children, your deceased parents. I got to disrespect your brother who molested you. But call it your nephew who lives with you, your dead brother that molested you. Over 50 years ago. These people. And then my brother even tell me, you had poor judgment. Shit, don't we all? And something. There's somebody that somebody is listening to that they think really is an honorable and integral person. There really is. But I guarantee you they're human. I guarantee you they are. And if you keep being around them, you're going to see some stuff that you didn't know either. Because no one could have ever made me believe a man that called me Ma and called me and asked me to be his manager, who wants to know if I got him on tape, who think I don't have audio, but I do. But what they need to understand, their audio is not for the public. See, I had it for court, but of course they wouldn't show up, so I won $13 million by default. A win is a win in the court of law. And they so dumb, they was laughing, talking about when they get to court October the 10th, what they gonna tell the judge. They didn't realize that was their time up for actually asking them to set aside the judgment. So now they can spend a whole lot of money, but it's going to be almost impossible because I did what I needed to do. See, while he playing YouTube, and then this little other rat running around here talking about the scammer, the scammer. Now they're going to take acetar. Oh, this is so funny. Now they're going to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference on acetar because acetar is calling them out on their YouTube bullshit. Acetar don't disrespect families, children. They've even made up avatars and went in the #1 draft picks chat talking about he called him a monkey. Acetar don't call humans animals. And he's so against it when he hear us as a people do it. Acetar don't use nigger. And he's so disappointed when he hear us do it. He doesn't do that. Now, I can't say what he does away from me, but I can tell you every time I talk to him and everything I know about him, I'm going to say like a parent would say. I can't say what my child won't do, but it's the things I know about my child. And there's a few things I can tell you my child ain't going to do. But there are some things we all might do that you didn't think you would do, but you did it anyway. So Alicia said, now this is a conversation. Regina said, Toothless Tiger, can you see when people are timed out or blocked from the chat? The person that addressed Avatar was sent to the side. No, I can't see it over here on StreamYard. I might could see it if I was looking on YouTube. Regina, don't you start there. You know I'm always behind. Don't you start to... Alicia said, Lord, I cannot. Okay, yeah. Lakota said, you're welcome. Regina said, Toothless Tiger, bring it back home, sweetheart. I'm ready to drop the disclaimer. Okay, here we go. Thank you for reminding me. I was on my way, but you know it take a minute. I wonder who made that fake account. Regina, he was sent to the abyss. Okay, let's bring it on back home. So let's go with the Black family and the U.S. policy. Let's start with that right quick. I'm not going to read all of it tonight. I'm just going to read some of it. And for anybody who's new to my channel, what I do mostly is teach. A lot of the stuff I used to know because I had studied and have it inside of me. A lot of the stuff that I'm teaching now, I'm learning right along with you guys because I was having problems with YouTube actually putting advertisement on my videos and I was being flagged for dumb reasons. And so now what I'm just doing is just doing my back to my roots, and that's teaching. But here you go. The Black family and U.S. social policy. This paper will offer a very brief intellectual history of the Black family and its relation to public debates about welfare and poverty. The people will first discuss Daniel Patrick Moynihan's infamous The Negro Family, the case for nation action, 1965. 1965 now. So y'all know this is right around civil rights, right at the end of Jim Crow. So we're talking about a 58, 59 year deficit here. Okay. The reactions to his controversial claims about the matriarchal. Now that goes back to us, my dear. It goes back to the motherhood, the mothership, Mother Earth, mitochondrial. About the matriarchal character of low-income Black families. The paper would then trace the ways Moynihan ideals, or at least related ideas, underlay conservative and liberal analysis about poverty and its connection to Black female-headed families. Tangles of pathology. Daniel Patrick Moynihan, The Negro Family, The Case for National Action, put the Black family at the center of national policy debate in 1965. Moynihan prefaced his relatively short report with this shocking claim. The gap between the Negro and other groups in American society is widening. The fundamental problem in which this is most clearly the case is that of family structure. The evidence is that the Negro family in the urban ghettos is crumbling. And that Arthur got that from Rainwater and Yancey, 43. For Moynihan, crisis or deterioration of the Black family was evident from the relatively high rates of marriage dissolution, illegitimacy, and the proportion of families headed by women, roughly 25%, when Moynihan wrote the report. More evidence for Moynihan was the fact that Black families were increasingly dependent on public assistance, by which he referred to the means tested aids to families with dependent children, AFDC. Rainwater and Yancey, 52 to 58. The steady expansion of this welfare program, he wrote, can be taken as a measure of the steady disintegration of the Negro family structure over the past generation in the United States. Moynihan worried that slavery, urbanization, and high rates of Black male unemployment transformed the Black family, or more precisely, the lower income Black family, into a matriarchy. The whole world is on a matriarchal system. Look at nature. That's all you have to do. This was not good for Black people, Moynihan contended, as it put them outside the conventions and norms of American life. More importantly, this matriarchy created a tangle of pathology that propelled the cycle of poverty and deprivation among Blacks in the United States. Rainwater and Yancey, 76. Thus, at a crossroads in the history of the Civil Rights Movement, a moment when Blacks looked to government for aggressive action against discrimination and an expanded welfare state, Moynihan argued that matriarchy was the issue of concern. The givers of life is the issue of concern. And as I stated a little earlier, Dr. Francis Chris Wilson, who was not only a psychiatrist but a medical doctor, taught us that the general concern for the European is because they have the recessive gene and we have the dominant gene, they're fighting against their white annihilation. They believe that they will be annihilated because anything that mixes with the original becomes the original. That's another story for another day. Moynihan was not the first to scrutinize aspects of Black family life. Indeed, Moynihan's report drew heavily from the work of E. Franklin Frazier, Black sociologist and pioneering scholar on the Black family in the United States. Frazier devoted considerable attention to the issue of Black family disorganization, a confusing and value-laden term used to describe families that diverged from the patriarchal, nuclear family norms and attendant sexual wars. Frazier, 2001. Frazier even contended that this organization was related to social problems like crime and juvenile delinquency. Frazier, 1950. Yet, as a number of scholars have recently pointed out, nowhere did Frazier argue that patterns of Black family life produced deprivation, independent of outside forces. Moynihan reversed cause and effect. Platt, 2001. Since 2001. And you see, that's what he did. He took the information. I sound muffled. Okay, hold on. I don't know why I sound muffled, but hold on a minute. Okay, Regina. I can't see the computer and stuff, but I got my phone here, and I just happened to look down and see that you said that. But it could have been, no, I don't know what it was, but maybe my head, and that's why I just tried to clear it of all of my sinuses. Maybe that could have been it. I don't know. Or maybe the way I was, looking. Okay. So Monahan's analysis provoked enormous controversy. Lee Rainwater and William Yancey captured many of the immediate reactions in the Monahan report and the politics of controversy in 1967. Reactions that would anticipate debates about the Black family and its relation to poverty in the United States for decades to come. Now, remember, y'all, this is back in the 1965. We're in 2023, and we still haven't not only had any conversations that were meaningful, but there have been no solutions and no resolutions. Moynihan's thesis was supported by some in government, most notably President Johnson. Johnson included the crisis in Black family thesis in his June 4, 1965 address at Howard University. While pointing to jobs, housing, and healthcare as pressing concerns, he also suggested, echoing the report, that the breakdown of the Negro family structure was a key obstacle with respect to Black progress. Unless we work to strengthen the family, all the rest, schools and playgrounds, public assistance, and private concern will never be enough to cut completely the circle of despair and deprivation. Rainwater and Yancey, 130. I'm going to read just one or two more. No, I'm going to stop when we get to this end of this conversation here because we're going to go on a little further. Many, though certainly not all, civil rights leaders dismissed the tangle of pathology, contention, and argued instead that Black people simply needed government intervention for jobs, health care, and other social goods. Some intellectuals, like Herbert Gans, conceded the point about Black pathology, but explained Black cultural deprivation as a result of lack of opportunity. Rainwater and Yancey, 450. While William Lyon expressed concern that Moynihan took a few pieces of census data and drew forth pretentious conclusions about the fabric of society and family structure and structural distortions in the life of the Negro American. Rainwater and Yancey, 463. And we're going to stop there at number 6 and move on to the topic for tonight. So let me stop sharing for right now because I'm going to play again the vocals from where we're talking about the Black women that are really dying in childbirth at an alarming rate. And, childbirth is one of the most natural things in the world. Most animals don't need, nor do they get any help in giving birth. And we used to not either. We used to do it at home. So let's go. Dr. Jackie, who's a prominent doctor in Atlanta and on the show Married to Medicine. Okay, thank you. Married to Medicine, aka, and I'm sure all of her sorors are really disappointed in her because one of the sorors was the vice president, and that's why a lot of this is controversial. I'm going to play what she said a couple of years ago about us, and then I'm going to play what she said while she was talking to the vice president, because she's chosen now to be the spokeswoman for what's happening to us. And I'm not necessarily probably going to play her her apology, but I may play it because it sounds so disingenuous. But in her mind, I guess it sounds, like she really apologized. But here, let's go with what she said. Okay. I'll stop my video for a minute so that I can cut this up. I have the phone cut down. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Okay. Oh, hold up, y'all. Okay. So she said we're over dramatic and we just go and try to get taken off the work quicker. And they see us 25 times during the pregnancy. And uh, if we really have a problem, when it's time for a problem, they can't believe it's a problem because all we do is complain and make up things. That's in essence what she said there. And Regina asks, is Dr. Jackie and her husband still together? I stopped watching that show a while ago, and they were having issues that was on the men. They had gotten back together, and from what I understand, they supposedly still be, but I stopped watching too a few years, right before I came on YouTube, when they were mistreating Dr. Contessa, and she and her husband was going through some problems. So I quit watching again. So I don't really know. I just heard this, and everybody is reporting on it, and I just need to give my take because it's so in line with what I was doing as I was talking about the destruction of the black family. And what I share with a lot of people in my personal life, what we don't understand is we see the face of the European as master. But we're sadly mistaken in most cases. It's the gatekeepers, the people that look just like us, who say that they're for us, just like the people on YouTube who come to you and say they want to help you build your channel and they want to do this for you and they want to do that for you. All the time, they know what they have planned for you, and it's never to let you get past them. And so they get to know you and they learn of you, and then they use what they know of you against you later on when you think y'all formed an actual camaraderie and maybe some type of association ship, since they don't believe in friendships on YouTube, some type of association ship. So it's kind of like that with our gatekeepers. They come in the way of civil rights leaders and ministers and teachers, you know, different areas of life. And they're always there to let you know that you can come to the gate, but you can't go through the gate. It's kind of like they're the cattle guard that keeps the cattle from getting out. Okay, now that was what she said. Now let's go with what she said now that one of her sorors is the vice president and chose her to be the spokesperson to help us as a people find out, because it's being reported all over the news, all over the world, the mortality rate for us as women are 3 times higher than that of our European or any other counterparts. So I hope that I sound pretty clear, but y'all let me know. And here she go as she speaks with the vice president. Okay, Regina, I just seen what you said. Hold on. Let me do it a different way. Hold on. What about the other one? Could you all hear the other one? Hold on. Y'all couldn't hear the other one either? Okay, let me just send it and put it on the computer. This is off my phone. Does me no good to play something y'all can't hear. One minute. Did I get rid of it? Send it to myself. Hold on 1 second now. Thank you for telling me, Regina. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and send this apology wouldn't be right to do all this other stuff and not do the apology as well. So I'm going to go ahead and sing that too so we can just hear it on. Like I said, I can't thank YouTube enough for knowing that this is all just for educational purpose and to wake up our people. And they allow my video to be advertisable for all. Okay, here we go. Now let me get on the computer at my email so that we can hear it. Me email. Okay, so I'm gonna play since you guys couldn't hear what she said. I'm gonna play that first. And because I didn't show it before, I'm not gonna show it now. I'm just gonna play it. Did y'all hear that? Do y'all need to hear it again? Or did y'all hear it pretty good? Okay, Regina, I'm waiting for you to tell me since nobody else is going to tell me. I'm not sure why you sound muffled on some commentary and then sound fine. Are you moving around or something? Make sure your laptop is posted led right and the microphone is clear of debris. Yeah, I don't have any of that problem. So I don't know why I sound like that either. Does it sound like it doesn't sound like the music too loud? You said my voice sound muffled. Am I correct in what I'm saying? Okay, y'all didn't hear anything, zip, nothing. Okay, Madoki. Well, let me try it this way. I got one other way I can try it. Hold on, I'm gonna try it this way and see if it'll work this way. I wonder, was it like this last week and nobody just said nothing? Hold on. Hold on. I don't know why this little thing is acting a little strange. Let me see. Let me try something. Okay, no, that's not it. Okay, it's not coming up on my computer where I want it. And it downloaded, but it's not. It's saying it's not supported. See feedback. Okay, I know what I'm gonna try to do. Give me a minute, y'all. Give me a moment. We're gonna do a little break right quick. Let me see if I can get this to work. I got an idea. It may not work, but let's just have a little break. Did you know that mental health is a family affair? It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Well, one child grows up to be somebody that just loves to learn, and another child grows up to be somebody you just love to burn. Mama loves the both of them. You see, it's in the blood. Both kids are good to mom. Blood thicker than the mud. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Oh, a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Nobody wants to blow. Nobody wants to be left out. You can't leave because your heart is there. But you can't stay because you've been somewhere else. You can't cry because you look broke down, but you're crying anyway because you're all broke down. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Well, it's a family affair. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, y'all, just give me a minute. We're gonna see how this works, and let's see if me signing in will help it download better. I had to sign into a system. Let's see how that turned out. If that worked for us. If that doesn't work, then I don't know. Okay. Not there. Let me go here. Let's see if it's here. Okay, let's see if it's going to work. It looks like it might be working. Okay. This is fair use. This is fair use.
As African American women, we're a bit more dramatic, and that you go to the doctor and you complain and you complain and you complain, and you're not taken serious because you cried wolf the entire pregnancy.
That ain't me, boo. I don't know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
I didn't say you. I just said as African American women, we want to also make sure you're being serious with your doctor and not playing the game so I can take you off work. Because then we see you 25 times in the pregnancy. It's hard to believe that there's a true problem when there's a true problem.
Okay, so did y'all hear it then? Were y'all able to hear it? Okay, well, I don't know because the link I have is, okay, y'all heard it? Okay, I may have to do that for the other ones because I'm trying to see where did the other ones, I don't see where the other ones downloaded, and they're not giving me the option to download them. I had to go and sign into my system so that I can get them to come down. So give me a moment. Let me just go back here and see if I can go out. That was what she said. And then let's go and see. So once you open something up, you have to go all the way down to try to find where it is. Okay, no, it's taking too long. Let me just send it to myself again. It's taking too long to find that information. I appreciate y'all patience with me. I tell you, every time you think that you got something down pat, all you got to do is just think you do, and it'll show you how you really don't. Okay, let's see here. I just sent that one. This is going to be her. We heard what she said there, and I'm going to just play it again once I get this down, if we can get this one to work so that we can, put it together. And I hope y'all can understand me. I don't know why. I'm not doing no extra moving around or anything. Have a great one, ass. For some reason, it's not letting me download it again. And it's not in my download. So I'm trying to see why is it not letting me download it again. New, let's see. See. Okay, let me go back here. Y'all tell me if y'all can hear this. Hold on a minute, y'all. I'm just looking at something here. Okay, now I went way too far. Okay. I'm almost there, but it keeps just skipping. This would be in December. I'm in November. I'm coming up on December. Okay, here it is. But it's not letting me. Okay, hold on. Y'all can't hear it? I see Regina said one moment, everyone, and I was actually playing it. So let me try to screen share this and see if it'll play. If y'all can see this. Maybe you all can hear it better this way. And here we go.
Highest rates of maternal mortality, that Black women in our country in this era are 3 times more likely to die in connection with childbirth. I think it's inexcusable.
It certainly shouldn't be that way. And what I really want us to do is just make sure we are talking about it.
We have been fighting for states to expand Medicaid coverage. We need all the states to sign on, and we need to let moms know that they're actually entitled to Medicaid coverage for up to 12 months of postpartum care. And that's one of the things that we need to get the word out. We also set up a hotline for mothers to have support in terms of emotional and mental health. So I'll give you that number, and let's make sure we get that out also. It's 1-833-TLC-MAMA.
And I'm going to be posting it and shouting it to the hills, so that moms know that we support them, that we want to make this better.
Let us all work together, and I know we will make a difference.
Okay. So now that's what she said with the vice president. Now, I just have a question I'd like to ask. Do we really believe her the first time, or do we believe her the second time? Yeah, I'm with you, Regina. You know, it's like she's making her White House debut. It's not like she has any concern for anyone that's a mother. It's amazing. Now, they said after this, there's a lot of people pushing to get her taken off the show. A lot of people are very upset about it. And so I say that probably her sorors got in touch with her and told her that she better try to make this right and apologize, because it's looking very bad on their sorority of sisterhood and caring and all of these functions that they have you buying tickets to, because they're supporting women and children, and they're giving back so much. And here you have a doctor who's one of obstetrics that we don't have probably many of, and she's so callous and think that we're only complaining because we want to get off work. A lot of people don't understand that maternity leave starts, if you choose and your doctor allow, from the day you conceive. It's just that if you don't have any complications, you have to be back to work 6 weeks after the baby is born. So, a lot of people go through a lot of things for the first time in their lives. And with each pregnancy, because each child is different, therefore, each pregnancy is different. But now she wants to let them know that we're concerned, which she shows no concern. So let's go with the apology and see what we think about the apology. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sharing it. Hold on a minute, y'all. I'm not sharing it. Hold on 1 minute. Fair use again. Fair use. This is for educational purposes. And we're trying to seek understanding.
Taking a much needed pause to address comments that I made during a 2020 live interview with one of my castmates. First and most importantly, to Black women and mothers, including your friends, families, and the medical community who cares for you. Because my words left you hurt and feeling unsupported, I want you to know I hear you, I see you, I believe you, and I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I am brokenhearted over this. The guilt and reality that I have hurt and offended people, especially Black women, and some of my own patients, pains me to my core. As I look back over the 2-hour video again and again, I admit that I used the wrong words and descriptions to properly convey my concerns regarding maternal mortality related to women of color. But the fact is, we must do more because we are still dying more. If I could say it all over again, here's how I'd say it. When experiencing a health matter, keep a log of your concerns and symptoms so that you can provide them accurately to your physician. Have a buddy system, someone who can advocate for you when you're with a physician, especially when pregnant. Know that a second and third opinion is not just sometimes warranted, but necessary. I thank you for taking out time from your holiday to tune into my apology and my self-dedication to Black women and healthcare. I've been shaken and moved to be better. Happy holidays.
Okay, that's it. So now, tell me what you guys think about that apology. Regina, I'd love to hear your take on that. She only apologized because people caught her and called her out for her prejudice and biases towards her own people. She is in the field of OBGYN and knows perfectly well the history. Now she's dumb. I couldn't have said that better. And there's no way that she was sorry in any way. And in the moment that she gave pause to sound like she was breaking, perhaps she could have been. I'm not inside of her head, but it just didn't sound genuine. It just didn't. So then here we go. And we're almost at, I've been going off about 2 hours and 30 minutes. And so we're about 20 minutes into 2:30. So let me go with the topic. And we had to just do a little reminiscing, and then I had to do my little ranting. So I appreciate y'all for tolerating me. But I agree 100%, Regina. I don't know if anybody else is still in the chat and if they have an opinion or not. But we would love to hear your opinion if you have one. If you don't want to share it, I understand. Do know that it's okay. Okay. Let's go back to the disbelieving, the maternal morality. Maternal morality rates in Black women. From cradle to grave, Black women can expect lower quality care and higher percentage of negative health outcomes than white women. That's Stallings 2018. As reported above, Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than white women. CDC 2019A. A national study showed that Black women were 2 to 3 times more likely to die from 5 common medical complications: preeclampsia, eclampsia, abruptio placentae, placenta previa, and postpartum hemorrhaging. Y'all probably can't see that. There you go. Than white women who had the same condition. Tucker, ETL 207, page 247. 75% of Black women give birth at hospitals that predominantly serve Black patients. Unfortunately, such hospitals provide lower quality maternal care with higher rates of maternal complications for elective deliveries, non-elective C-sections, and maternal mortality. Black women's maternal health, 2018. In fact, Black women who delivered at high Black serving hospitals have the highest risk of poor outcomes. Howell, ETL, 2016. These same women are unlikely to obtain health care elsewhere and are thus forced to endure statistically life-threatening care. Thus, inequitable care and inaccessible options have an effect throughout the entirety of the pregnancy, from prenatal care, regular checkups, and in delivery. So if you imagine prenatal care and regular checkups, and you're telling your doctor that you're having problems or you're feeling something odd or weird, and your doctor is believing that you're just being dramatic and want to get off work. Imagine that's why the rate is there. We can't come up with any other conclusion. The repercussions of health disparities among Black mothers echoes into the next generation. Although the overall infant mortality rate in the U.S. has decreased, the disparity between the infant mortality rate of Black and white babies has increased. And that's Hogue and Bremner, 2005, page 47. In 2017, the infant mortality rate per 1,000 live births was 10.9 for Black infants and 4.9 for white infants. Black populations have 2.2 times the infant mortality rates as white populations. The majority of Black infant deaths are related to preterm delivery. In 2017, Black women were approximately 50% more likely to have a premature baby compared to white women. CDC 2019b. Preterm delivery is linked to, I'm going to say, Geronimus concept of weathering and can be explained by the mother's elevated stress levels and even exposure to racism associated stress. Hogue and Bremner, 2005, page 49. Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health's Dr. Anna Langer reports it's basically a public health and human rights emergency because it's been estimated that a significant portion of these deaths could be prevented. American Heart Association News, 2019. These rates and statistics should give rise to national concern. But there are obstacles within the medical world and healthcare system, both at a general and an individual level, that must be addressed. And the running title is Maternal Morality. Barriers to healthcare by racism. Racism is not only apparent in the past and present of the healthcare system, it also caused significant disadvantages in almost every aspect of life influencing health. These disadvantages restrict Black Americans from receiving adequate health care and are all interconnected. Housing and environment, income and unemployment, education, transportation, access to nutritional food, food deserts, trauma of racism, disproportionate incarceration, and the limited availability of opportunities all play a role in the overall quality of life, health, and well-being. On average, African Americans have the highest poverty rate, and workers that earn poverty level wages are disproportionately women, Black, and between the ages of 18 and 25. Economic Policy Institute, 2011. Due to the restriction of education and opportunities, these statistics are unsurprising, but nobody talks about it. I'm trying to get down to this according. Let me try it this way because it's not working for me that way. According to what drives the cycle of poverty provided by the Stand Together Foundation in 2017, the 5 primary factors of poverty are chronic unemployment, personal debt, educational failure, addiction and trauma, and the breakdown of the family. The vicious cycle of poverty clearly affects quality of life, including access to health care. With poverty comes vulnerability to further poverty and ill health. This vulnerability then leads to disability, and the cycle continues. The deficits in economic, social, and cultural rights not only have a personal effect, but a political impact as well. The disadvantages experienced by Black persons leads to the cycle of, number 1, reduced participation in political decision making. Number 2, denial of civil and political rights. Number 3, social and cultural exclusion. And number 4, stigma leading to the additional denial of opportunities for economic, social, and human development. Run entitled Maternal Mortality. A girl born into a poor family may experience hunger and malnutrition that results in stunted development and poor health, including infections, lack of energy, and behavioral issues. That leads to severe disadvantages in education. This in turn impedes development of healthy self-esteem and feelings of confidence, which limits opportunities for work and a sense of control. Educational deficits and lack of confidence contributes to insufficient income, limits housing options, and diminishes the ability to access sufficient quality health care during a pregnancy. Poor or little health care leads to a life-threatening delivery that requires additional time off work, that ends with unemployment, and the poverty cycle continues. From their seemingly unending life trauma, those stuck in the poverty cycle are more likely to employ poor coping skills, like using drugs and alcohol, which only contributes to the continuation of the cycle. Additionally, high childbirth rates, sick elderly, and more dependents only reinforce the cycle. The poverty cycle is nearly impossible to break and often pulls back or entraps those that have made it out. With low income comes an inability to pay costs for appointments, scans, and procedures. It may also impede attending these appointments, scans, and procedures due to a lack of transportation, inability to leave early or take a day off work. We can't do that because the doctor thinks that you're playing and you're over dramatic. Forego the lost income for time off or find safe and affordable child care. Within communities of poverty, it is rare to find a geographically close or public transit accessible women's center or clinic. Additionally, Black neighborhoods are less likely to have a local primary care physician. Stallings, 28. David R. Williams, a Harvard professor of public health, sociology, and African American studies, states, quote, in the United States, your zip code is a stronger predictor of your health than your genetic code, unquote. Let me just say that again. Quote, in the United States, your zip code is a stronger predictor of your health than your genetic code, unquote. That's disheartening. Although we know it's true, it's just disheartening to know that people have studied this, know this, had conversations about it, but nothing has changed. Along with the lack of nearby clinics, there are issues with consistent primary care physician appointments, which leads to no recommendations for screening, especially for prenatal and postpartum care. Lower educational levels may contribute to hesitation of asking questions about medical terms, clarification about scans, results, and procedures. For any patient, a physician's communication of bad news may not be delivered well, and the patient's shock may overwhelm the ability to ask questions for clarification and comprehension. This may be further exacerbated by the mistrust generated by mistreatment of the Black population in the United States healthcare history, which can also contribute to lack of understanding or fear of confrontation of authority. Additionally, the intersection of racism and sexism further restricts Black women from receiving adequate health care. A question of equitably access and quality care arises. Are there additional obstacles? After the barriers created by racism, poverty, and prevalent historical practices are addressed, when the physician enters the room, in the exam room, where the patient, a Black pregnant woman, awaits. I don't know if I read that in the sound of a question. Seem like I'm just throwing together words, but I hope that I'm coming across clear. Shit, I can't even get a cross out. Patient-physician relationship. And this is one of the things that whole thing was about with Dr. Jackie. Uh, you know, the patient relationship, our inability to ask questions, how doctors take on the God complex when they're dealing with us. Regina also said, I'm just going back and looking at the chat, that I have a very detailed opinion of Dr. Jackie and her comment and a brief history on Black women healthcare and gynecology under the video. Thank you, Regina, under the comment section. Thank you so much. Okay, patient physician relationship. The simple fact that you have to ask that question is a problem, says Charles Johnson, a Black widowed husband who lost his healthy Black wife and unborn child during an emergency surgery after being disregarded by their physician and healthcare providers. Love, marriage, children, and heartbreak. A family's tragic delivery room experience, 2018. Receiving the best possible results within the American healthcare system is a task in and of itself. All patients and or advocates must be proactive, well-informed, assertive, and sometimes aggressive in dealing with healthcare professionals and insurance companies. However, when Black women are proactive, well-informed, assertive, and sometimes aggressive, they are often perceived as stereotypical tropes. This stereotyping can put Black women at an even higher risk of being overlooked, dismissed, and or harshly judged by medical staff. It is difficult to scientifically prove that Black women are being discounted, dismissed, and denied treatment. But literature shows a minimum unconscious bias is occurring. Many studies show that healthcare providers exhibit implicit, unconscious, or unintentional bias against members of marginalized groups, usually resulting in differences in treatment. Minorities, minors, often receive inequitable specialty care, pain management, mental health services, etc. And that's Ryan and Few, 2003, page 249. Black women intuitively feel that they are not receiving the care they deserve. Many have a nagging feeling, a gut reaction that something is not right about the treatment they receive. Anwar, 2019. The intersections of being a woman and Black results in double jeopardy. This leaves Black women questioning if they were dismissed because of their race or gender or because they have a clean bill of health. Stereotyping is a major factor in how Black women are treated. The negative stereotypes of Black women include the angry Black woman, mammy, welfare queen, and the prostitute. Sex, 2017, page 60. Historically, Black people were stereotyped as lazy and lacking intelligence as early as the 17th century, but it continues into the 21st century. Popular and pervasive stereotypes of African Americans, 2019. When a Black woman states her opinion, she is seen as the angry Black woman. A Black woman may be considered a welfare queen if she seems well off, but is using government assistance. If a Black woman is sexually active, she may be assumed to be a prostitute. Black patients are considered lazy if they do not follow up or take proper care of themselves. Some physicians may be taken aback and genuinely surprised when a Black patient is able to ask informed questions about their health, disproving their unconscious and conscious bias. I think a lot of people get surprised when you finally start talking to them and they realize that you are intelligent, You are articulate. You work hard to communicate accurately, responded Chris, a 59-year-old black woman with a doctorate in divinity. When asked how she is treated at her physician's office, Sachs 2017, page 64 through 65. Okay, so that should have been the end of it. At her physician's office. These stereotypes, unbacked by any science or data, may also influence pain management of patients. Racial bias in pain perception is associated with racial bias in pain treatment recommendation. This means that a physician who dismisses a black patient's pain due to the false ideas of racist stereotype will continue to dismiss the patient throughout their treatment. Hoffman ETL 2016. Thereby conditioning black patients to underestimate their own pain. Wortham 2016. A study done at the University of Virginia found that a significant number of medical students and residents held widely erroneous beliefs about biological differences between black and white people, including the less sensitive nerve endings in black people or the thickness of their skin. Wortham 2016. A textbook used in nursing schools around the U.S. was pulled only 2 years ago for prejudice and false statements, including Hispanics may believe that pain is a form of punishment and that suffering must be endured if they are to enter heaven. African Americans believe that suffering and pain are inevitable, and Native Americans may pick a sacred number when asked to rate pain on a numerical scale. Physicians and healthcare professionals are making judgment calls rooted in racial stereotypes. Wortham 2016. Dr. Langer reports basically black women are undervalued. They are not monitored as carefully as white women are. When they do present with symptoms, they are often dismissed. American Heart Association News 2019. Being dismissed, ignored, and chastised on multiple occasions through their everyday lives and in doctor's appointments causes many black women to dread going to appointments. Karen Winkfield, MD, PhD, a radiation oncologist and associate doctor for cancer health equity in North Carolina, notes that all issues are based on finances or access to care, but rather on how the patient feels about the physician. The question is whether people feel welcome and listened to. Stallings, 2018. Alexandra Moffat Batu, and I don't know if I pronounced the name correct, so forgive me, an assistant professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, recounts and reflects on her own experiences as a black woman seeking medical care. It was just this belief that I was making things up, that what I was saying wasn't real, that what I must be seeking drugs or selling the drugs. And so what happens is you start to develop a ton of fear around going to the doctor. Kreisinger, 2018. Patients and people in general are less likely to engage in a healthy, honest, and open conversation about their health when their physician and or a physician in their past have dismissed their symptoms and their very being as a human, inherently valuable and worthy of care. The style of dress, verbal skills, scientific knowledge, educational credentials, etc., can determine how successful or unsuccessful the patient-physician interaction will be. Many Black women acknowledge the prevalence of stereotypes and the importance of adapting their regular behavior to mitigate discrimination. Research done by Tina Sachs at UC Berkeley was based on in depth interviews of 19 middle class women, and two focus groups explored stereotyping and bias in the healthcare system. One of Sachs' research participants stated, in my own mind, I try to avoid being stereotyped by doing certain things. Sachs 2017, page 59. The first impression of how Black women talk or dress may completely reverse the way a physician interacts with the patient. Some Black women dress up to go to their appointment. Some realize their level of education or educational persona impacts how they are received and treated. Another one, Sachs participants notes, I think that they first look at me as being inferior because of my gender. I think they look at me even more inferior because of my race. I think they also get surprised when you demonstrate that you are also a person. Sachs 2017, page 65. However, a good first impression does not always reverse the way physicians see their Black women patients. It is harmful when physicians assume poverty and center the conversation around financial issues. This assumption shifts the focus from the data that relates to the physical and mental health of Black Americans to money. Meadows Fernandez, 2018. Black Americans all of all socioeconomic and educational levels need physicians to prioritize data surrounding bodily health before including societal and environmental factors to ensure that all medical components are addressed. An intentional effort to prioritize medical data reported by the patient and through testing is necessary because medical data can be shrouded by a physician's interpretation of the person outside of socioeconomic and educational levels. For example, even well known and successful Black celebrities are not immune to the danger of implicit racism within the medical system. Tina Sachs, an assistant professor of social welfare at UC Berkeley, notes, when you look at inequalities in healthcare, you see a lot of studies tying the problems to race and poverty. But there's not a lot about educated, insured Black women who are not poor. Yet, infant mortality rates for Black women with a college degree are higher than those for white women with just a high school education. Anwar 2019. Serena Williams suffered a pulmonary embolism after delivering her first child by C-section. Fuller 2018. She had previously suffered from a pulmonary embolism in 2011 and was acutely aware of the danger during and after birth. Fuller 2018. Williams felt her symptoms and demanded to be given the necessary care after the health care staff dismissed her. Fuller 2018. Her pre-existing condition left her at a greater risk, yet the medical staff only responded when she insisted. Fuller 2018. Unfortunately, not all patients have the education nor weight of voice to demand care. Serena Williams' story and her advocacy in speaking to the public about the mortality rates of Black mothers empowered other Black women to share their stories of how often they feel dismissed and ignored and even chastised during doctor's appointments. Though Williams' testimony made the space for conversations to begin, Collecting data and finding the number of Black women who have and continue to experience this sort of treatment still eludes the medical world. Perhaps because there are too many women who will never have the opportunity to share their story, as they have died from complications that could have easily been diagnosed, treated, and cured. But the stories of survivors call out the ways in which the healthcare system has diminished their quality of life. Patrice Cullors, one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter movement, had an emergency C-section in 2016 and states the surgeon never explained what he was doing to me. She was in pain and found no relief with the pain medication, and nothing bettered the situation until her mother screamed at the doctors to give me the proper pain meds. Martin and Montague, 2017a. Shalom Irving, a Black woman who dedicated her professional life researching and fighting against low structural inequality, trauma, and violence, make people sick, dead of postpartum complications. Martin and Montague, 2017. Irvin fought to eradicate disparities in the healthcare system and still fell victim to the exact thing she was trying to eradicate. A friend of Irving's, Reagan McDonald Mosley, the chief medical director of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, stated, "It tells you that you can't educate your way out of this problem. You can't healthcare access your way out of this problem. There is something inherently wrong with the system that's not valuing the lives of Black women equally to white women." Martin Montague, 2017. And so as we wind down, what now? Healthcare in this study, particularly healthcare for pregnant Black women and their infants, is a multifaceted issue. With this multifaceted issue comes a multifaceted solution. To fully improve maternal health outcomes, there must be open and honest conversations about policy change and training on conscious and unconscious racial and ethnic bias within the healthcare system. I just don't understand why we need all of this training. People just need to treat people right. However, other social changes must also occur if maternal health is going to substantially improve. Increasing the minimum wage and raising incomes in poor communities will help provide clean, safe, and affordable housing for all. This, alongside better government funding to improve the quality of education, improve, expand, and ensure reliable public transportation, and increase the availability of accessible, equitable, affordable, healthy food. Each of these are clear solutions to relieving layers of toxic stress and improving the health and well-being of all citizens, not just Black mothers. In the land of the free, and I call it the land of the fee, access to health care free of discrimination should be a priority. All citizens, healthcare professionals, and policymakers should care about health and well-being, as they are two things that allow people to experience freedom. Public policy and medical practice should focus on eradicating cultural biases and discrimination in both medical education and existing practice, increasing provider diversity in maternal care, and holding physicians and hospitals accountable for failing to provide unbiased, high quality, and evidence based care. Black Women's Maternal Health, 2018. A particular challenge to address is that some Black women face a coverage gap. They earn too much to qualify for Medicaid, but make too little to pay for their own comprehensive insurance. As a result, these women lack access to health care despite their clear efforts to work hard and provide for their families. Although a controversial topic, the U.S. needs policies that expand and maintain access to health care for all, especially those within the coverage gap. Countries including Switzerland, Great Britain, Japan, Taiwan, and Germany treat healthcare as a human right successfully. Pal Freeman, 2008. The public and our elected officials need to push for an assessment of the United States healthcare system because good healthcare should not be a privilege but a basic human right. Another obstacle to improving maternal mortality rates in Black women is not all states are required to gather and report information on race, ethnicity, income, and health insurance status in maternal mortality statistics. The Maternal Health in the United States 2018. In 2010, only 23 states had a full or partial policy that established review boards for maternal mortality. Maternal Health in the United States 2018. This data is critical for recognizing and understanding these disparities. Implementing a nationwide requirement for data collection will ensure more research to better identify interventions and ways to prevent maternal mortality rates among women of color. John Oliver, a comedian and commentator, notes that not all physicians are racist or sexist, but acknowledges that these are problems of bias. People have biases, and doctors are people, and they may have come up in a system that intentionally or not has often discounted the experiences of a majority portion of the population, a major portion of the population, and their biases, explicit or implicit, have life or death consequences. Bias in Medicine. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, 2019. Physicians and medical staff need bias training. They need to be trained to not only see the patient as a collection of signs, symptoms, and history of illnesses, but also understand the social environment that leads patients to poor health. The prioritization of data to ensure that the medical issues are addressed still needs to be balanced with the intersection of social and societal environmental concerns. These sets of data do not lie. Patient-centered care needs to carefully and attentively address both the medical symptoms and the humanness of the patient. There is a distinct disparity between the quality of care among people of color and women because of racism and sexism. The rate of pregnancy-related deaths is appalling, particularly when considering Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than white women in the wealthiest nation in the world. And I understand if anybody has to go, I'm almost through, and that's why I'm continuing to read, because I only have a few pages left and I'm going to just read it out. So I greatly appreciate everybody for coming, hitting the mic button, and everybody that's staying with me. But just understand, I know if you have to go, don't feel bad, because I'm not looking at the chat on my phone. I'm just going to continue reading this out until I finish. In light of these disparities and the intersectional way in which they interact, it is necessary for medical staff to ensure patient centered care that is responsive to the needs and inquiries of all women, especially women of color. Blaming patients for their health problems will never be the solution. It is clear that Black women hesitate to seek medical care with their historical distrust of healthcare institutions and are less likely to return after bad experiences with a physician. But approaching the patient and trying to understand the patient's symptoms, life story, and the events that influence their current medical situation will help build comfort and trust. Although patient physician time is limited, physicians should be better educated and trained to actively listen to their patients, provide clear and understandable explanations, and take time to answer all of the patient's questions. Black women, no matter their education or socioeconomic environment, should not be left scared and afraid during pregnancy or delivery because physicians have failed to communicate. Black women, no matter their social status or renown, should not have to demand care for a documented pre-existing condition. Black women, no matter their political involvement, should not have to die during childbirth when they have spent their lives fighting for fair and just medical practices. As Angela Pye stated, we deserve to enjoy our pregnancies, not plan for our funerals. We deserve to live. We deserve better. Pye, 2018, page 901. And in the running title, I'm just going to just do this slowly, but these are the references. And they'll be here, in the video. I'm not going to read them off. But these are the references in which she was referencing throughout the paper. And that is a question I posed. It is, why are Black women disbelieved during pregnancy? And this speaks to the very core of Dr. Jackie's statement back then and the statement she made with the vice president, and then the disingenuous apology that she made only because that came back up, because she was very comfortable in saying what she said, and she is one, when she say something, she said what she said, and she stand on it. So I'm just showing this in case anybody want to go back and look at the video and scroll through and see some of the things that she was speaking of. These are the documents that she retrieved all of her research on. And remember, Miss Pye was a professional and worked with the welfare system, and she did not realize how bad the problem was until she had a pregnancy with her fourth child and experienced all of the racism and prejudice and biases in the medical care. And she had education, finances, insurance, and it didn't get her any different treatment. So that's what this has been about. And again, I started speaking on the Black family, and I don't know if anybody will wait and see the end, but I have a video that I want to play a clip of a young lady. This story was shared with me, and she had a miscarriage, and the miscarriage was of a stillborn baby. And I don't know, I didn't understand, and maybe you guys can, if she was in the hospital or if she was at home. But the baby went down the toilet, and they actually presented that case before the grand jury, and they are actually uh thank you, Regina, thank you so much. They are actually prosecuting her for abuse of a corpse. And that was, oh, Regina put a story in here. I hope y'all look at that. It's a link. It says news article link here. Georgia mother who alleges baby was decapitated during delivery. Oh, oh, hey Maria, I'm glad you made it to work safe. Regina says this reminds me of a recent and unfortunate horrific case that made national news. Georgia mother who alleged his baby was decapitated during delivery files lawsuit. But I want to show the few of you that still left this clip of this young lady, and it's so sad. She actually miscarried her baby, and these people actually took this case, and the baby was stillborn. So they are getting her, they say, for the abuse of a corpse. And if you think that's not disheartening, to number one, carry a baby, think you're going to have a baby, find out that your baby is not functioning properly, and your water break and the baby comes out, and then you have to go on trial saying that you tried to get rid of the baby down the toilet. And it's just, the atrocities are just so sad. And so I guess we can't talk about truth and real pain that drives a lot of us to do some of the weird things that we do and say some of the saddest things that we say. But I'm trying to see, I know I sent it to myself, but I may have it in my YouTube. Let me see if it's here, because I have it. That's not it. And I wanted to show it, but I'll be reading so much, and then of course I'm always talking. And y'all, that's what I do. And I talk and I ramble and I go here and there. I don't mean any harm. That's just who I am. And I try to get better, and I'm doing a little bit better. I'm not quite there yet, but I am getting better. But I definitely wanted you guys to see this. Give me 1 second. And like I said, if you can't stay, I understand. If you just, whenever you want to come back and just take a look, YouTube have this new thing. They have the little lines. If you look at the bottom, and you can just go section by section. You don't have to go through the whole thing. Oh, I want to thank whoever that is. Oh, for the Cash App. That's so absolutely beautiful. And I also want you guys to know that it was 2 people that gave me a Cash App that I didn't acknowledge them. So may I please just play the thank you for these individuals. I greatly appreciate you. That's for the Cash App for tonight, and then I want to. I got to give a special thank you to both of those 2 that gave me those Cash Apps, because this was the first month since I've been monetized that I didn't make enough to get a YouTube check. I normally get a little over $100, and this month I didn't get over $100. And losing at least 16 or 17 people here to date in the month, then it's, I don't get the same time, and I don't get the same people that come in that look at the videos. But those two women uh, were really appreciative of my work, and they gave me enough money to where I actually got what I consider a YouTube check from my supporters. And I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, because I just said, well, I'm just going to be short that because it has really come in handy. But I greatly appreciate you guys. But like I said, I love what I do. This is my purpose, and I'm going to do it until every last one of those YouTubers go down to nothing. That's how long I'm going to do it. But as long as I can get on here and talk, and as long as others are willing to come and listen, then I'm going to do what I do. Now, let me try to send this, see if I can send it to myself, because I really want y'all to see this. Somehow I had got this. Oh, maybe I copied it. Okay, hold on. I wanted to really share this. When you have so much to share, it just seems like you're probably not doing anything. But I really have so much to share, because if I can help anybody with what I know, and if they share it with their babies, I truly believe the children are our future. And I truly believe that we should lead them. I'm trying to see why it won't let me copy it. I said copy. Okay. So why is it not letting me put it in my email? Let me see one more. Okay, maybe we'll this time. Okay, yeah. I think I got it, y'all. And again, I can't thank YouTube enough, even though it's 2 or 3 days later, and I don't know where in the video that they put my commercials. So if they put them at the end, and most people only look at 2 or 3 minutes, then I don't have to worry about any of that anyway. But this is my purpose, so I got to do it regardless. I'm giving away money to people who didn't appreciate me, said they didn't like me. So certainly I can fulfill my purpose and don't worry about a dime. I'm just pulling it up, y'all. I'm trying to see if they're going to show the video. Yeah, they will. Let me see how I have to do this. I don't want to get their newspaper. Don't you hate when they do that? I may end up having to get the newspaper to get this thing, because I want you all to see this story. And I believe it's on YouTube, but I want to show this story. And when I first seen it, I didn't have any of this problem opening it up in my DM, but when I send it here is where it's giving me the problem. See, it's showing on my phone, and then it's saying try 1 month free. Okay, let me try to find it on YouTube because it is on YouTube. So it doesn't want to act right on the computer. So let me find it on YouTube. Give me a moment. Police say a Warren woman had a miscarriage and now she's charged with abuse. Okay, y'all, let me just find it here on YouTube. I found it. So let me find it here on YouTube. I thank y'all very much for the 14 likes. I greatly appreciate it. I never had 14 people in here, so thank everybody for visiting and those in the bushes for hitting the like button. It really means a lot. It helps us get into the algorithms of other and more different, people. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go here. I want to go to my history. Okay, and this is going to be fair use for the WKBN 27 News, who's going to be reporting this story, and I'm going to be sharing it. And basically, I'm just going to turn the music up just a little bit because all YouTube requires is if you're going to use somebody's stuff is to try to alter it or whatever. So I'm going to be adding my background music a little higher, but you guys will be able to hear it. But it's just so sad. And I'm going to finish this out and then we'll be getting ready to close out. I greatly appreciate y'all staying with me. So let me do the sharing. I don't want to. I don't want it to start talking. I just want to share the video first. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this is one of the saddest cases I've seen for a young mother to lose her baby and to have to go through this trauma. It's unbelievable what we go through. Unbelievable. Okay, fair use, and this is for Trumbull County Grand Jury to hear abusive courts case, and this is WKBN 27, and so we thank them for allowing us the privilege of having an opportunity to use their story. Here we go, y'all.
Police say a Warren woman had a miscarriage and now she's charged with abuse of a corpse. The case is headed to a Trumbull County grand jury. First News Trumbull County reporter Nadine Grimley was inside Warren Municipal Court today for the preliminary hearing. And we want to warn you that you might find some of these details disturbing.
Brittany Watts overcome with emotion after learning her case is moving forward. Watts is charged with felony abuse of a corpse, accused of trying to plunge a toilet after having a miscarriage delivery at 22 weeks while using the restroom.
She said she felt the baby come out and there was a big splash.
Investigators say they found a baby stuck in a toilet at Watts' home on September 22nd. Forensic pathologist Dr. George Sturbins testified an autopsy found no injury to the fetus and that the unborn baby had died before passing through the birth canal. He says Watts' medical records showed she visited the hospital twice before the delivery.
This fetus was going to be non-viable. Okay. And it was going to be non-viable because she had premature rupture of membranes. Her water had broken early, and the fetus was too young to be delivered.
Both the assistant prosecutor and Watts' attorney argued why this case should or should not move forward.
The issue isn't how the child died, when the child died. It's the fact that the baby was put into a toilet large enough to clog up the toilet, left in that toilet, and she went on her day.
This 33-year-old girl with no criminal record is demonized for something that goes on every day.
Judge Terry Ivanchek found probable cause to bind the case over.
There are better scholars than I am to determine the exact legal status of this fetus, corpse, body, birthing tissue, whatever it is. Matter of fact, I'm assuming that's what most of these issue one's all about. At what point something becomes viable.
And Warren Nadine.
And so there you have it. What are your thoughts for any of you that's left, if you will, if you feel like, saying something about it? What are your thoughts about that news story? I thought it was very sad and very heartbreaking, to hear the least. I really don't like the way the man chose his words to say that it was put in the toilet, as if the lady put the baby in the toilet herself, when they, plainly stated that the lady water broke prematurely. Thank you, Maria, for putting that disclaimer in there. You know very well that the lady was using the toilet. She didn't put the baby in the toilet. It kind of assumes if her water broke prematurely, and that doctor was very good. He tried to explain and make it as human as possible that it was not of her doing, but that lady to get up there and say that this is something that happens every day now. They should have showed us another line, she said, but I guess that's the line that they used to decide to move forward, because I just cannot believe. And it may happen every day to people. It really might happen every day. But it's just hard to believe that they would decide to prosecute her for that. But they did decide it, and she's from Ohio. This is where this happened, in Ohio. And it's just sad that this happened. And like I said, anybody who has to leave, I don't have a problem. I'm just going to read her story, and then I'm going to close out with our line, the children are our future. I certainly appreciate you guys. Thank you for the Cash App. Thank you guys for listening. I hope that you will share the video, or at least have conversations about it. And anybody who needs to use it, feel free. We need to start educating ourselves. I think if we really understand our history, and if we teach it to our children, they may start loving themselves or seeing themselves in a different light. It's just my belief. Regina said, all things involving humanity should be free of racism and biases. Healthcare, judicial system, education, public services. But we don't live in a perfect world, even though we allegedly live in a full democracy nation. And even with the democracy, that was the organic act of Congress I ask any of you to go and check out the Organic Act of Congress of 1871. America is found and based on a republic form of government. And what that means is the people rule. And you pick representatives that you send to Congress to represent their area that sent them there. The democracy is more of the majority rule. And we know that that's not true because it's a divide and conquer system in place where only 1% of the people rule the many. So if we would just start studying the Constitution, and I ask you, I have videos talking about the Constitution, the 7 articles of the Constitution. I didn't get to the amendments, but it is very important, and I will get to it because, again, this is what my channel is about. It's just about educating you to hopefully spark a flame in you that you would start educating yourself and then teaching it to your babies, because that's what life is all about, the babies. As her story goes, she miscarried in her bathroom. Now she's charged with abuse of corpse. Brittany Watts was, was still hooked to an IV, sick for almost a week from a potentially fatal miscarriage, when a detective from the Warren Police Department in Ohio stepped into her hospital room. He assured her that she wasn't in any trouble. For more than an hour, Detective Nick Carney interviewed Watts, 33, about the details of that morning and the whereabouts of the nearly 22-week-old fetus that was declared non-viable 2 days earlier. As Watts described miscarrying in her bathroom, a nurse at Mercy Health St. Joseph Warren Hospital rubbed her shoulders and told her everything would be okay. Watts told the Washington Post in a series of text messages. 2 weeks later, Carney arrested Watts on charges of felony abuse of a corpse for how she handled the remains from her pregnancy. If indicted and found guilty, she faced up to a year in prison, along with a fine of up to $2,500, her lawyer said. To describe Watts' experience, the Washington Post reviewed police reports, call recordings, and more than 600 pages of medical records, interviewed her lawyer, and spoke to Watts via text message. The arrest has outraged healthcare professionals and reproductive rights activists, many of whom fear the stigmatization and criminalization of women's reproductive related outcomes is expanding in the 18 months since the Supreme Court reversed a nearly 50-year precedent that gave women the constitutional right to an abortion. Even before restrictions from the Dobbs decision took hold, low-income women and women of color, particularly Black women, were disproportionately criminalized while pregnant. As many as 30% of pregnancies end in miscarriages, usually in the first trimester and often before a woman knows she is pregnant. Late miscarriages, such as Watts, are relatively rare, and doctors say that there is no clear guidance for how fetal remains should be handled. So if the doctors are saying it's relatively rare, this woman said that this is something that happened every day. So she didn't even have a chance with her attorney. In the past 7 years, Ohio is among several states that enacted laws mandated that products of pregnancy be buried or cremated. Although these rules typically apply to a healthcare setting, such as a clinic or a doctor's office, rather than individuals who experience a pregnancy loss at home or elsewhere. A judge last year blocked Ohio's law from being enforced pending a legal battle. Moving this over to the individual after a miscarriage just heightens the question, what are they supposed to do? Said Dove Fox, a national health law and bioethics expert at the University of San Diego School of Law. If it's already difficult for hospitals, for individuals facing difficult circumstances and navigating pregnancy loss, to undertake the medical system is not just a tall order, but a probative one. Watts later learned through her lawyer that the nurse who had reassured her had reported her to the police. Neither healthcare workers nor law enforcement officials dispute that Watts' pregnancy loss was natural, and the coroner's report determined that the fetus was uninjured. But a Trumbull County grand jury is now investigating her case. Watts said that along with mourning her loss, she is also dealing with how low her life was turned upside down the day law enforcement was asked to intervene. I'm grieving the loss of my baby, she told the Post this week. I feel angry, frustration, and at times shameful. Watts, a medical receptionist at a different hospital, had woken in pain on the morning of September 22nd at her home in Warren, Ohio, about an hour east of Cleveland. She tried walking around indoors, but it didn't lessen the pressure she felt in her abdomen. Watts was in her bathroom when she delivered a roughly 15-ounce fetus over the toilet. At the time, she said, she didn't know that at 5:48 a.m., her life would change forever. The delivery left a mess of blood, stool, tissue, and other body fluid clogging the toilet. Watts scooped out what she believed was stopping the toilet and placed it outdoors near the garage. Cleaned the bathroom and showered, records showed. To maintain appearances to her mother, whom she had not told about the pregnancy, Watts drove to a hair appointment, said Tracy Timko, Watts' attorney. The hairdresser noticed Watts' pale face and immediately called her mother to take her to the hospital. It was Watts' fourth pregnancy-related trip to the hospital that week. When a hospital nurse asked Watts where the fetus was, Watts told her and later the police that the fetus was outdoors near the garage. Watts added that she didn't look inside the toilet to make sure. A hospital note written and signed by the nurse said, advised by risk management to contact Warren City Police to investigate the possibility of the infant being in a bucket at the patient's residence. The next record shows that the nurse called the police. I had a mother who had a delivery at home and came in without the baby, and she says the baby's in her backyard in a bucket, the nurse said, according to a call recording obtained by the Post. I need to have someone go to find this baby or direct me on what I need to do. A spokesperson for Mercy Help, Maureen Richmond, declined to comment out of respect for patient privacy. Demonized for an everyday occurrence. 2 weeks later, on October 5th, Detective Carney drove to Watts' home and placed her under arrest. Watts said that until then, she didn't even realize she had been charged with abuse of a corpse. The law, which outlines that no person except as authorized by law shall treat a human corpse in a way that would outrage reasonable community sensibilities, has been used before in Ohio in relation to women's reproductive health. In 2019, a Warren County, Ohio woman was found guilty of abuse of corpse in connection with the death of her newborn daughter. Her defense lawyer said the baby was stillborn. A judge put the woman on probation for 3 years, but her probation was terminated after roughly a year, according to the Cincinnati Enquirer. According to Olin Conway, a professor of law at Ohio State University, abuse of a corpse historically falls under a broader law against grave robbing. Given the statute's history, she questions whether prosecutors are applying the law as it was intended. Prosecutions stemming from pregnancy loss occurred in Roe v. Wade era, but post-Dobbs, prosecutors feel they have more leeway to pursue such cases under statutes such as abuse of a corpse or concealment of a birth, said Keely Sunderland, legal support director. If, When, How, a nonprofit network of reproductive justice lawyers. Those statutes, Sunderland said, tend to be ambiguous, archaic, and never intended to be used against someone who experiences a pregnancy loss. Get the Post news. Tamiko said that Watts is being punished because police and prosecutors do not understand the natural and common process of a miscarriage. Watts, who has no criminal record, is being demonized for something that goes on every day, Timko said at the hearing in Warren Municipal Court on November 2nd, according to WKBN. The city of Warren is part of Trumbull County. George Sturbins, a forensic pathologist, testified that an autopsy found no injury to the fetus and that the fetus had died before passing through the birth canal. This fetus was going to be non-viable, and the fetus was too young to be delivered, Sturbin said. Warren Assistant Prosecutor Louis Garnerier, I don't know how you say his last name, Garnerieri, I'm going to say, who did not respond to the Post request for comment, said in court that the case is about what happened after the miscarriage. The issue isn't how the child died, when the child died. It's the fact that the baby was put in a toilet. And again, he say put in a toilet. The baby was not put in a toilet. She used the toilet. Left in the toilet, and she went on with her day, he said. Sunderland and others who criticized Watts' arrest questioned the public safety value of her prosecution. This is a prosecutor believing that they're the arbitrators of what's in the public interest, Sunderland said. But they're prosecuting someone over a pregnancy outcome. Who are they actually prosecuting? Timko said the case is now about defining the term corpse. Ohio's law do not define corpse, and without a definition, the public is left to argue the issue, she said. In most cases, criminal law applies to persons who are defined as humans who are viable, Timko said. In Brittany's case, she knew the fetus was not viable. No clear guidance. Before police began to investigate Watts, the medical office receptionist had spent the 3 previous days in and out of the hospital as her pregnancy faltered. By the time she first visited the hospital on September 19, Watts already suspected she was miscarrying. She was passing large clots of blood and describing her pain as intense, according to her medical records. Doctors confirmed her suspicions, telling her that although there was fetal cardiac activity, the pregnancy was not viable. Watts left the hospital that day against medical advice, telling the doctor she could better process what was happening to her at home. The next morning, Watts returned, expecting to be induced to deliver her preterm pregnancy. Abortion is currently legal up to 22 weeks for pregnancy in Ohio. For the next 8 hours, doctors and officials determined the ethics of inducing labor for a woman who had been diagnosed with preterm premature rupture of membranes, and it's called PPROM, had no detectable amniotic fluid, was bleeding vaginally, and had advanced cervical dilation. One doctor was particularly blunt about the urgency of inducing Watts' delivery. My recommendation, instead of waiting until mom is on death's door before proceeding with treatment, is to deliver this baby by inducing, the doctor wrote. 7 hours later, Watts still had not been induced. She wanted to leave, according to medical records. Finally, when the doctor returned to the hospital room to discuss the induction plan, records state Watts' bed was empty and her IV bag was draped over the railing. At home, the pain and bleeding wouldn't let up, prompting Watts to briefly return to the hospital the next day. But she again left against medical advice after not being able to see her OBGYN soon enough. It was during Watts' next visit to the hospital on September 22nd that her status would change from patient to potential criminal suspect. Although miscarriage is common, It is nonetheless an isolating experience, doctor says. When it comes to fetal remains, the guidance outside a healthcare setting is murky. As to the disposal of fetal remains after abortion or miscarriage at home, I know of nothing. Fox, the University of San Diego School of Law bioethics expert, said of guidelines. This is not an area where you're going to find best practices from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention or the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecologists. Casey Hammond, an OBGYN and associate professor at Northwestern University's medical school, said that an outcome such as Watts, a second trimester rupture of membranes, is not uncommon. While her process for the disposal of remains may be unusual, the actual clinical scenario the patient faced is not unusual and is something any pregnant person could confront, Hammond said. And although OBGYNs would prefer people be in a healthcare setting during a second trimester pregnancy loss, anyone experiencing a miscarriage has the possibility of passing that at home. The right person for the patient to call is the doctor, not the police, Hammond added. Calling the police on a patient going through this kind of traumatic experience is not therapeutic. But Watts, the trauma of miscarrying could stretch well into next year as she awaits the decision of a grand jury tasked with poring over one of her most life-altering moments. Apart from the emotional upheaval, Watts is struggling to pay the medical and legal bills that have mounted in the past few months. Although she is filled with anxiety, waiting for the grand jury to decide whether she should be indicted for alleged abuse of corpse, she said she is grateful for support from her community and people across the world. I pray that my story makes a difference and no other woman ever faces this reality, she said. However, if it comes to that, she has my support. And this is the end of the story. I thank you for staying with me as I read it. That goes with the video. I appreciate you, Maria, for staying up and staying with me to the end. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for hitting the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. If you like my content, hit the like button and leave a comment. I'd greatly appreciate it. And as always, I'm going to leave with my song, The Greatest Love of All, which I believe are our children. Of course, love of self, but the children are a part of us. And so I want to teach them well so that they can lead the way for us. I'm going to close out. I'm leaving the Tiger's Den, and I hope to see you all on Sunday. Have a beautiful rest of your night and rest of your week. Goodbye. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us who we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I failed, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of takes you to a lonely place, find yourself in love.